Hi, my name is Charlie, and today I'm here with Matt Wheeler and Vintage Heart.
I'm Andrew Berg, and I play cello.
My name is Sean Vago, and I play percussion.
My name is Matt Wheeler. I sing, I write songs, I'm what you would call a singer-songwriter. I'm the Matt Wheeler part of the Matt Wheeler and Vintage Heart band name.
You guys are known a lot for painting pictures with words. When people look you up, there's a lot about your lyrics and poetry. What comes first when you're writing a song, the lyrics or the music?
I feel like that's changed over time. I started writing poetry before I ever learned how to play an instrument. At least played oboe way back in the day, but as far as like guitar, so it used to be basically like I'd have, mostly like a fully formed idea and like almost like a poem now. It's had a melody to it, and now it's almost reversed. Like sometimes I'll have a melodic idea, but I pretty much always have my notebook, this one here actually, with lyrical ideas in it, and then it's like I get one or the other and start, just get like a pool of ideas, melodically and also as far as lyrically, and then just kind of merge them together and see what happens. Sometimes it comes out of a sound check jam, like our song Lexington did.
So, why do you think that music and poetry are so inclined to enhance each other and work together?
Yeah, words have a certain power and strength to them. Especially when you find just the right way to say something. Like when you hear a lyric and someone's like, "Oh man, like that perfectly illustrates, a certain feeling or a certain setting." But when you can enhance that also with music on its own can do that. But when you can combine the two together, I think it can be really powerful. And I think especially expressive are things like strings, like my friend Andrew here, with a cello, or our friend Caleb, who's not pictured here, on a violin. I think that it can be even more evocative, which is why I like to keep the strings guys around.
The way I see it, Charlie, Matt's lyrics, his poetry, stands. Those lyrics, those poetic instances stand on their own. However, the music that Matt trusts Andrew and Caleb, our violinist, and myself to paint in and around really amplifies the mood of the lyrics. Though Matt's words are strong enough to, as he mentioned, evocative, but the sensitivity that we're trusted to bring to those really, we have a great responsibility to very carefully emote what he's saying.
How is having a band different than playing solo?
Well, I still refer to Matt Wheeler and Vintage Heart as though I often call it my solo project. It's not really solo. I was in another band before where we had 4 members, and if it wasn't all 4 of us there, it felt like it was less. This ended up coming out of just playing some actual. There were supposed to be solo shows, but I'd ask other people to join me. Andrew ended up being one of those ones early on. So did Sean. Caleb came on a little later. Yes, and still 70 or 80% of my shows they play are solo, especially when I'm traveling pretty far from home. But it's a very different feel. It's wonderful to me to see the way that the same songs come alive in a different way. When you have the strings parts, you have the drums driving things. It's like getting to try on the same thing, but with all these extra pieces that fill it out. Plus, I enjoy the camaraderie. We have this sort of running band joke that I'm my bandmate's dad, which goes back to the child locks on my car, when we're all driving someplace, and I leave him on because I have a young son, and say Andrew and I would go to get out from the front, and then Sean's in the back, and we're unloading the hatchback, and he's like, "Dad," and sometimes I'll buy him meals on the road sometimes, but. It's funny, especially because Sean's older than me, but the other guys are still, so it's me and my boys, I guess. So there's a close friendship among all of us, but I think we have good chemistry on stage and the studio as well.
Great. It's whenever someone asks me, "Oh, well, I've seen you play before," we don't do every song the same way most of the time. So there are just very subtle nuances, so that you're not seeing, oh, well, that's the way they did it before. Well, I've already seen that. I don't need to see that again. There's a different expression. Seeing Matt Wheeler in vintage art in any configuration can be a different experience each time.
Well, that's partly a function of the fact that sometimes it's, you might just see me, you might see me and Sean, you might see me and Caleb and Andrew. Well, we don't really have the band arrangement if I'm not there, but like sometimes there's all four of us, and sometimes even with like Stephen Courtney, who was our engineer, he also joined us at our album release show last year on bass. So that's why I have like a guest vocalist join us here and there. So yeah, it's like it's centered around my songwriting, but like the fact that it's grown into like a bigger band scenario is just a ton of fun for me.
So do you guys also contribute ideas to the songwriting process?
Yeah, so just I guess a week or two ago we actually met. We're working on a cover of Coldplay's "Fix You," Coldplay song, and it was very much a round table, kind of like, well, how can we make it our own? Can we add this piece? Can we add this piece? Let's layer it this way. Okay, let's try it this way. So I think it's very much a collaborative kind of team. And so like, Matt will come in with like maybe some lyrics or some initial ideas, but then it really doesn't fully flesh until we've played it through a few times, and even then it changes. I know for myself, I was classically trained on the cello, so playing with a folk band was really different and really uncomfortable or not uncomfortable, but like, yeah, it was difficult for me at first. And so even since I started playing with Matt back in 2009, I've like grown in my skills and ability to improvise and stuff like that. So it's kind of so even that piece of it.
Yeah, it used to be essentially I'd have a fully formed song, and it's like, you guys just put down whatever you want to this. But now, like most, even like from about Indigo on, like our second album on, like a lot of my songs will end up being kind of rough drafts that I try out live, and we see what works around. And like Indigo itself, the song rather than the album, is a good example of that, where it was like I would toy around with like sometimes I would do all the verses, or I might even like change the order around. Sometimes I still do that by mistake. But it's not until like we really like try it out live a number of times that it's like yeah, this one really works. Let's keep it in the rotation. Like now and then we'll have a song I try out live and it just hasn't taken off, so we just don't really have it in the fold so much. But yeah, like basically I do most of the singing. Our violinist Caleb does some backing vocals too, but basically it's like I play guitar well enough to like propel the song along, but it leaves a lot of blank space for these guys to I trust them to do what they know how to do, the drums, cello, violin, backing vocals, whatever. It's like I'm really interested in what you guys want to do with this. Like if you go and listen to our song Gold, like the backing vocal, like the high falsetto thing that Caleb did, I never would have seen coming, but it was his idea, and it's like, yeah, let's totally run with that. Even though my wife did think that it was one of the female vocalists that worked with us.
As Matt explained, as we're morphing songs, particularly through the live atmosphere, the songs evolve, maybe deconstruct somewhat, because if the four of us aren't at a collective gig, that might leave more space. However, when more of us are there, it's, well, just because you were playing that, there are more people. So Matt trusts us to adapt and scale accordingly. And we've really grown to do that well.
Mm-hmm. It's like a basketball team that's played together for a while. It's like what to expect the other person's going to do.
Mm-hmm. Everybody knows that you're a very avid reader. Like you've had songs based on classic literature, Hemingway, C.S. Lewis, among others. as well as songs that are related to history, like Lexington and the
Yeah.
references to the American Revolution. And everybody's already asked you what your favorite, classic literature is. So, what are some contemporary authors or books that you've read recently that have resonated with you?
Oh wow! Well, first off, you've definitely done your homework, so thanks for that. Yeah, like I like to say, I like to read the books that make you read in high school and college. In fact, at this very venue, they had a copy of Les Mis, which I'll actually use as part of my introduction to our song "River," one of 2 songs that's based off Les Miserables. Yeah, there are also some references like to Odyssey and to Romeo and Juliet in one of her songs. Anyway, so there's a lot of that, but it's not like just dead authors that I think are interesting. But as far as like a little more recent, like we have a song which we haven't really tried out live too much yet, but it's called "The Violet Dark" and it's based off of The Little Prince, which is a little bit more recent. I think from like the '60s at least. Yeah. As far as really recent ones, honestly, as far as things I've been reading, I haven't read a lot of classic novels just recently. I'm actually reading a book called "U2 on U2," which is basically like a long series of interviews about spanning their entire career. But one other thing though, wow, I can't believe I about forgot to mention this. So, and this is definitely more recent because this author is still alive. Wendell Berry is one of my favorites, and I've not ever done something that I haven't done a song that like directly brought in any of his work, but I'll bring it back to that in a second. But like, so one of my favorite songwriters, a guy named John Mark McMillan, he did these like alternate versions of some of his songs recently, the Mercury sessions and the Lightning sessions, and in the commentary on one of them, he talks about how people figure he must read a lot of poetry because his lyrics would suggest it, but that he really hadn't until writing this most recent album. And what he said he would do is he would look at like Wendell Berry or some other Pablo Neruda and some others, and he would actually like write down a couple of lines they really liked, and then just free write like 3 pages every day off of that, and then was mining those for lyrics. And I actually started, since I heard that, I was already reading Wendell Berry's new collected poems, and just like here and there I'd pick it up. And now I started like each day I'll pick up like one of the poems and I'll jot down a few lines that really resonated, and I'll just kind of riff off of that. And I haven't went back to like mine lyrics from it, but when I do in the next few weeks or months, start to like put it all together, I've got this wealth of ideas put together. So that's my long version of the answer. A short version would be Wendell Berry, New Collected Poems.
Here's a question for the whole group. So what's your favorite place that you guys have performed together?
Wow.
Got some good ones. Yeah. Wow, as a band, so I played a lot of shows solo. Like I said, one of my favorite shows I've ever played was at Kitchener Public Library in Southern Ontario with So Far Sounds Waterloo. Like, it was me and one other artist, and this like room full of people that I had not ever met before, but that were like predisposed to like whatever was going to be happening, and everyone was so super interactive, and I made a bunch of new friends and fans, and that was tremendous. As far as a band, I'd say our album release show back in 2017, for our self-titled album, was pretty tremendous. We played the new album front to back. Stephen Courtney, our engineer / bass player, joined us, and we had Band of Rivals, which is Sean Cox from 3 Strand, his former full band, and Vulcans, and yeah, it was not quite like a "This Is Your Life," but it was kind of like that. It's like all these people from all these different spheres, at least around Lancaster, were able to come and be part of it, and it was a really memorable evening. So that's, as far as recent ones, that's one of my favorite ones.
That was at Tellus 360.
Yeah.
So yeah, Tellus is a really fun venue, I think. And, yeah.
Other shows, other things we've done all together. I mean, the WITF music feature. I don't know how it was that we were all available like at 11 a.m. on a Tuesday or something when we did that, but we went up to the NPR PBS affiliate up in Harrisburg, and they had us in for a session where we did like an interview. We did some video sessions, so that wasn't like a gig per se. That's one of my favorite things we've done together as a band.
I mean, definitely Tele 260. I was gonna say, you guys played at my wedding, played the first dance to my wedding.
Yeah, how
That's
could I
our
have
song.
forgotten that?
So,
We
that should have been
play
your
that.
first answer, some little friend of Just kidding.
Well, we can edit that back. And
No, I'm just kidding.
yeah. Like Andrew and his now wife Liz asked me to write a song for their wedding, which no pressure.
Yep.
Musically narrate one of the most important moments of our lives in front of our assembled family and friends. But I was happy to do it, and I sent them an iPhone like demo version, and they both said they're getting teary with it. And I was like, yes. And now it's on our most recent album, and we'll play it at our show tonight. And yeah, that was a great occasion. Andrew wasn't playing.
I wasn't playing cello. I was
But-
focusing on trying not to trip or step on my wife's toes.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's in a good key for cello, and so he still plays it with us now.
I really enjoyed the release party because it felt like the culmination of a lot of work.
Absolutely.
And it was very special to me to be able to share that with Stephen playing with us, that he mentored and guided us through the entire recording process, but that it all translated, on stage, and that mattered a lot because sometimes what you put down in a recording just doesn't quite come out like you want it to. That night, everything came out the way we wanted, or better. Than, even to the point where there were occasional comments like, "Wow, we should have done this on the recording." So that was very special.
Online, you said that you have no plans to embark on a full-time music career, and I thought that was interesting just because I feel like it's sort of the opposite of mentality of what a lot of musicians who want to get to a full-time music career. So could you just elaborate on why you're not interested in that path?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I think makes me different as a musician from a lot of people who are out there doing it is like I started playing out, regularly in 2012. I'm 39 now. I was, I believe, 32 then. Right? That's an age where people are quitting their punk bands and settling down and starting a family. I did the opposite. I sort of waded into music while I was after I got married and more or less mostly after I became a dad. And so I have a steady full-time job at a college and I really enjoy it. So I still play 90 shows a year even with a family and a full-time job, which is probably too many, but it's well, I guess as far as why I'm not concerned with it being a full-time thing, it's the nice thing is if I don't, it's not I have to be if I don't make $500 of this gig, we can't make our mortgage. It's no, it's nice to make some money at it, and we do, but it puts a lot less pressure, lets art be a little more pure. And it's a good time to be an independent musician, but it is kind of a tough time to be a full-time independent musician. I know a guy in Chicago who's he went to full-time, actually, and also a female artist too, both solo artists, and they're especially Brian, the one guy I'm thinking of, he's doing tons of restaurant and bar gigs and things. That's fine. It's working well for him and his wife and 5 kids. But I don't think that's something I want to do. I love playing original music and listening to your environments where I can. Those don't always tend to pay super well. But I love travel as well. So playing shows So Far Sounds or house concerts here or there, and of course the vibrant local music scene. I can still play a lot of gigs and make some money out of it without having to be the thing that feeds my family. I feel I have to travel a lot more, or else build a studio and learn how to use it in order to have any chance of doing it full time at this point, at least. If something changes, someone sees me at a show and offers me a record contract, that's a really great deal, and maybe that's another story. But at this point, I like the fact that it's basically a second full-time job for me. But but I'm also my own manager, publicist, social media marketer, and I can just, I control all of it myself, which I really like.
When the influence of have to starts infringing on because I love to do this, that and Matt talked about maintaining the purity of the art. Once that corrosion starts to happen, that is so hard to reverse. So when you can't do it because you love to do it, sometimes I think that that the band's other vocations actually kind of support doing this, because this is something, and not that we don't like those other things, but we can do this because we love to do it. There's no conformity from those external pressures and influences, and to me that's hard to find these days.
What are the group's plans for the future?
Well, Dad.
Looking at me. Yeah, that's a good question. I've been thinking about that a bit more myself. Like I mentioned, playing like 90 shows a year or something like that. Ultimately, like with playing that many, you feel like, at least to me, it seems like I have a lot of really good high quality gigs, but also some that are just stinkers. Like on Wednesday in Philly, I was playing to basically like the staff where I was at, and it's like it was a midweek show, and it's like this is the kind of show I'd like to cut out. Like I'd like to raise the quality and maybe make the quantity a little bit less. But beyond that, I can't say I've got like a master plan to it. It's basically like a lot, almost everything that I've had come about has come about because of like relationships and networking and meeting people, and just staying in touch. And I've traveled up to Canada a bunch recently, and I keep going back because there are people that I know who are up there, and then I'm meeting more. And I'm playing a house concert next Friday, and it's because it was through someone I met at one of the shows, and it's I'm meeting other bands and things, and so it's just kind of seeing where it leads. I don't know that I plan to play more shows next year, but I'd like to make them better ones, and I hope that our recordings keep getting better and better. I think they have so far. So one of the plans we're looking to do is release a series of singles. One would be the Fix You cover, that the Coldplay cover that Andrew was talking about earlier. But I have some other originals, and we'll probably spin it into an EP, do an EP release show, maybe press some vinyl for one of the projects. So yeah, I mean, I'm kind of taking it day by day and seeing what opportunities open up, but so far that's worked pretty well for me. So.
Yeah, so it sounds exciting, and thanks a lot for coming here for the interview. Have a good show tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us on.